You're watching the State of Play, quick fire roundup of all things Irish football and beyond. Coming up on this episode, the FAI battered by the PAC, Duff's given out about the Casement Park funds, and the Girls in Green get a fantastic draw in Florence. All this and more coming up on the State of Play. David Dunn here, joined by Martin Prendergast. And of course, if you like what you hear, love what you see, hit that subscribe button, scan that QR code, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter. Martin, how are you doing? Only one place to start. Did you watch Oireachtas TV on Thursday, the 22nd of February?
I did, yeah. I caught up with it. Sad state of affairs, isn't it, really? It's a worrying time for Irish football, and our leaders have not inspired us, to be fair. I'm just kind of incredulous, really. I've had mixed feelings, to be very honest about it, because I just think it's just still a bit of a shit show, and I kind of think of obviously a lot of friends, a lot of contacts within Irish football, and just disillusioned a little bit now, to be honest. It's taken away the whole management recruitment. It's taken away the news of the pathway, which is the focus, and it just shows that we really needed probably to clean house a long time ago and maybe start again.
Yeah, I mentioned I did an individual podcast last night. It is available on the YouTube channel, by the way. I just, people were saying to me, should I just shut it all down, burn it to the ground and start again? And I was, typical, no, you can't be doing that. This is Irish football, what about the national team? You can't do that. Give them a chance. They have to prove themselves. And then, you have that yesterday. I mean, after Jonathan Hill gave his explanation, read out his statement, which was only delivered, 45 minutes before they were due to start, 8:45. Supposed to be handed in they're supposed to be given 24 hours notice. And you think, here we go again. And it was Paul McAuliffe, TD, Fianna Fáil. He opened with, didn't he? He said, look, we're here to talk about the betting levy being increased, give you more money, etc. Dalymount Park, all these things I want to talk to you about, but I can't talk to you about these. I have to talk to you about this. And then he takes out the email, and just to show anybody who missed it, this was the email after 71 days notice that the FAI handed in as an explanation as to what happened with the holiday payment. That is outrageous. I hadn't seen that, Martin, until because I was getting ready. I'm here in London. I'm getting ready to go to the gym, then go to work. So I was listening to it, get my earpods in. I hadn't seen that until you had actually sent that to me on WhatsApp. I couldn't believe. I thought it was a joke.
Yeah, I mean that is, though, it is a joke. Ultimately, it's just worrying that they had a lot of time to prepare. I know they've got the pathway that they're looking to create as well, and I know we need money, and we know that we're trying to recruit a manager, and we know that we've got international games taking place as well. But and we know there's a kind of new board and there's a new president, and we know all those things are in place. But the fact is, from the last time they were there, the answers have changed in some of these key questions about the holiday and payment in lieu and all that kind of stuff. That, even the fact they've had to get a PR guru in to kind of coach them on some of the answers and things like that. And they admitted that in the session as well. I mean, yeah, look, you can say they're doing a fantastic job in a way, getting their preparation house in order in that regard. But ultimately, it comes down to the answers and the information you're providing to the government, who you're then asking them for money. And they haven't got any faith now in it. And also, it just looks awful to the general public, not even have the taxpayers as well, basically. Like, why would you give these people money to invest in football? I mean, even the COVID payment, that there's a cock up there some way. They're redacting those emails because they're they're trying to protect the identity of some junior kind of administrators within the FAI. Absolute shit. But the other thing with that is we've seen now we've seen that version of the email. So there's leaks in the FAI again. And I don't blame people in the FAI for leaking stuff out, because they're disillusioned with their leadership. they're not all in it together. Jonathan Hill apparently isn't accessible. We're not going to get lanyards ever again, Dave. No, but they're not. Jonathan Hill's just not accessible to even his staff and his leader. And when he first went in there, he was promising we're all in together, working hard, future of Irish football. I think it's interesting that I think a few days previously, Mark Canham's, I thought he was quite, come across quite well in his presentation of the pathway. And it's interesting that Jonathan Hill took a kind of back seat in regards to that, because maybe he knew that he'd be tarnishing it a bit in some way if he had been involved in the presentation of the pathway, which is kind of Mark Cannon's baby. That if Jonathan Hill had been over that as well, and then the next day he's up in front of the Oireachtas and performs like he did, and you'll question his credibility and his integrity, basically, that undermines the pathway to think, well, why are we giving this guy? So I think that's what they have been quite astute at doing.
Do you think
by design or accident? I don't know, but I don't know. I'm just all about it today. Now they've just moved on. They're sending out the messages about, oh, you can buy season tickets still because England are coming to town. It's just commercial business, but I've got no which I know that is, and I'm always an advocate for commercialism in a sense that we need to help bring us in money.
But do you think
so? That's the problem.
Do you think that John Hill now is just like a pariah within the FAI? Because 15 minutes in to what I heard, Paul McAuliffe turning to Paul Cook, the president, and do you have confidence in your CEO? I have confidence in the leadership team. Do you have confidence in the CEO? I have confidence in the leadership team. No. I'm not asking about the leadership team. I'm asking you about him while he's in the leadership team. But do you have confidence in him? And then basically admitted that, well, my confidence has been dented a little bit with what's gone on here, rightly so. But do you think Jonathan Hill now, I mean, there's an email, there was another email that came out, and this is a screenshot from John Fallon's Twitter. And it's from Alex.
That is it, isn't it? That's the redacted one.
This is I don't know if it's the same one. Hold on.
Yeah, basically that's it, and it's been leaked, is how I understand it.
Oh, was that leaked?
That's it. Yeah, that's just it. Yeah.
Hold on.
That's the version of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's it. That's what I'm on about.
So we have the actual email there. So basically, right. I didn't realize that was.
And what they've done, so what they've done is they've seen the other person. The redacted bit on this is to safeguard the person who they're saying that's why they redacted everything, because they're saying that they wanted to protect the identity of that person, but then this version's come out or been leaked.
Which basically point of it. Because Hill's explanation was, look, it was just literally, I mean, it was literally, money was just resting my account. No, it was just, listen, the 12 grand, the extra 12 grand, the holiday in lieu, which takes me over my legally, basically he can't go over, I think it's 258 grand. He can't go over that. So he can't be paid in lieu. He has to either he loses them, or I think he gets them, brought forward or whatever. And he said, as a suggestion, not a request, as a suggestion, for a bit of crack, can you, maybe you should pay me in lieu. And that's what he said, but pretty much while showing them this email. But he says, trust me, that, it was completely taken out of context. And then you see in this one here where Alex O'Connell says to him there, goes through, there are 3 days between Christmas and New Year's Eve or New Year's, so that would be blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, I think we're looking to try to pay them in brackets as per your request. However, we'll go through Roy Barrett for approval via EFA. So let me know if that's okay with you. And then Jonathan Hill responds, perfect.
Yeah. As per your request, though. That's the thing. So they've taken a jokey kind of throwaway comment. That's what they're saying, and yet they've done that. And look, the money's been paid back as well. But it's just that wasn't the answer he gave previously. So they've now kind of had to put their hands up.
And Sport Ireland. It must be very clear. Sport Ireland were actually satisfied with that. But to be fair, Sport Ireland only saw this, but they were happy with his explanation.
But even the fact that they've sent that fully redacted one is just ridiculous. It kind of shows a bit of contempt for it, to be honest. I would rather they showed that one that we've just put up with the wordings there, and you're right, you've taken out a few, we redacted a few emails out of it to protect that person. But the fact they've actually gone with the whole blacked out one is ridiculous. And I think it just shows contempt for the whole Erectus, to be honest.
Erectus?
Erectus, yeah. Well, it is full of. Anyway, I mean, I just have no faith in the leadership team there at all. Not the leadership team. I'll be, specific people within it. I don't think. I think the fact about the living in England and stuff like that is a challenge now. You can knock the person on that. I think there's not been a lot of engagement with some of the key stakeholders. I mean, I was thinking about this a little bit now. I'm not saying I'm a key stakeholder, but I'm a chairman of a supporters club, and even that pathway, care passionately about Irish football. I don't believe we were consulted on, giving us the idea of should we? Are you interested in this? Do you want to have a say on what they want to do in the FAI? And they've done loads of consultation. I don't think anyone that wasn't put out to kind of our membership. I don't think. And I would have liked to have a look at it and like to have a kind of input, to be honest. But I have no problem with that. I think I've kind of halfway through reading the pathway. I think it's quite interesting, and we've kind of read a lot of it before. Some good ideas in it, but it just comes down to going back to this. It's an absolute mess, and I just think ironically, we're looking for money from the government. We're on about I think as well the sponsorship deal now hasn't been announced still. That's probably my initial reaction to watching it yesterday or listening to it was, I hope that meant that deal was done with the sponsor, because if I was the sponsor there, I'd be thinking, why am I getting involved with this crowd again? This shit is happening again.
Well, to be fair, I mean, there were also another part of the trip to the Dáil, to the PAC, the Public Accounts Committee, was to also talk to them about an extra 1% rise in betting tax, basically, and that would equate to around 40 million euros, and that would be divided amongst all sports. And that was basically the main purpose. And I think to talk about getting 500 million euros for their 863 million euros that's required to bring the infrastructure up to scratch, and talk about all these kind of things, they never even got to that. And that's what was so annoying. And the thing is, right, with the FAI, there has been so much good work done. They are a lot better than what they were in 2019, but that wouldn't take much, to be fair. And it's just all been completely undone by this.
Yeah, I mean, look, even like you said, Paul Cook there with asked that question, and his response, I think, tells us everything, in all honesty. But look, what they seem to do is just send in a new person every time who kind of can give the stock answer of, oh, I'm kind of new to this, but I will do my best and I won't get drawn on it, and kind of stall and kind of waste time, basically, in a football analogy. They're just, all those ministers, you've got a certain amount of time, haven't you? So
15 minutes,
so you're just there going, like, stall, answer, not really answer. You don't really get to the crux of it. But I think Paul Cook as well, then, he can also say, I'm it's not really on my watch. I'll come in now, and look, we're sorting out things that, Packy Bonner was up the last time as well. I just think it's absolutely farcical. It was actually interesting. I think, didn't Gavin Cooney say that he's been at more of these than he's seen Ireland win matches in the last few years? Or
9. I think 9 trips to the Dáil with the FA. Yeah. I mean, just from my point of view, I was so angry yesterday. Yesterday was not a good day at work. I'm just thinking about it, and I'm like, for God's sakes! I mean, here we go again. The League of Ireland is cooking. It needs money, it needs facilities, we need grassroots. We're so far behind other sports. If football was decently run in Ireland, it would be unstoppable. It'd be like if Man United was run by the guys that run Liverpool, with the facilities and everything they have, it would be unstoppable, because Liverpool's so well run. And if you just had someone decent in charge of football on the island of Ireland, or in the Republic of Ireland, it would just be unstoppable. And I mean, Alan Dillon, he tore into. I think he's the former Mayo player, actually, GA player, and he, he turned around and basically said that Hill's account of the situation was a fabricated narrative, and the chairman had to say, well, you got to watch your language there, because you're. I mean, Hill didn't even respond to that, because that you're basically saying he's lying. You were saying, well, you fabricated. You're completely lying here, and you got to have stakeholders and other associations there as well who don't want to see football prosper. And let's be honest here, they don't.
Yeah, no, you don't. Yeah, I get that completely, and that's why
Mm.
you've got to have your kind of house in
Yeah,
order, and I think in the past they've kind of had fall guys and things, but I just think, look, position untenable. I don't know. I think it's very close for Hill, to be honest.
I think it is.
Because I think I think what it will be is the narrative might be it will be a stepping down. It will be, how can I do anything in this country with how divisive it is in the background and all the different schoolboy leagues. That'll be a great excuse to kind of say this is what's happening in the background. Everyone's against me anyway. But I don't think he's helped himself, in all honesty. And I think I feel very, very sorry. I mean, one of the key tweets I read yesterday
Yeah.
was from another Irish fan who we've had in the pod, Eddie Mahoney from Ireland Soccer Shirts. And he's saying he's really passionate, obviously, about Irish football and the history and everything.
We all are, yeah.
But he kind of said, he always believed that we should keep going in the wake of Delaney and all that crap going on. And now, he's thinking maybe we should have just started again. And it's sad to hear someone as passionate as him talk about that. But I did feel very disillusioned with it yesterday. I just think, and probably have for a long time, and I'm very, very positive normally. All right, the football is a back seat thing at the moment. I just can't see the way forward with it. Like,
Here's a question. Here's a question. Imagine you're Lee Carsley.
Oh, yeah, why would you get involved?
Why you haven't changed. Mad. You haven't changed.
You've got no money. I was talking to you before. The parallels with Jack Charlton coming in to be Ireland manager. It is unbelievable. An association that's nearly bankrupt, got no money, and you're appealing for money to try and do things. You've got lots of divisiveness going on in the background, and people trying to, jobs for the boys a little bit, that kind of stuff going on. Whoever players want to play for us or not, things like that. It's very sad to see, and
I find the whole thing depressing, to be honest with you. And it's just,
and then the goal of it then is today. Someone's doing their job in Abbottstown today, sending out the good news. Oh, season tickets. We're going to do another public sale of them because it's really attracting now to come and see England. And yeah, it is, but it's not like we haven't got a manager and we haven't got a sponsor.
No sponsor.
And they'll be hawking a new kit out in September, and
no sponsor, no manager, and probably no CEO soon enough.
Yeah, and we haven't got a stadium that we own. It's just mad. The lack of investment is criminal.
The lack of joined up thinking, the lack of investment, the lack of organization. Yeah, I mean, was it Glenmuir Park? Was it the one down in Cork that never got built? And they were talking there like a 38-acre site, golden opportunity in the heart of Munster. Get turn that into a hotbed of football. You think of Dennis Irwin, your mate, the non-world class player, Roy Keane,
world-class player,
the world-class player, and these guys down there, massive support from Man United, Lee Miller, of course, and you're thinking like that's a great opportunity, great idea. And that's just been sitting dormant for the last 6 to 8 years, or whatever it is. And they were they were getting dragged over the coals over that, like basically saying, "Why would we give you any money? We gave you 30 acres in Ireland. That's it's an insane amount of land, because you know how hard it is to get land in Ireland, especially in Dublin, to get anything built in Ireland. Sure, the old look at the metro, 40, 50 years, I think we're waiting for the metro. But anyway, yeah, really depressing. And, basically it was a case of, about that holiday pay. There you go. That's my explanation. Can I have €500 million, please?
Yeah. And they didn't even get around to talking about the tax levy or anything like that. And
got to it. It's a shambles, and I'm disgusted with what happened.
And again, I feel very sorry though for the people working in the FAI still. There's some decent people working in there. They're, even the coaches, the development coaches around the country, trying to promote the game despite all this, and we can put all the pathways in place we want to do, but we need funding. And when you're going to the government asking them for money, You've got to be able to demonstrate without a doubt that you've got your house in order, that every penny that comes into you, you're accounting for it correctly, and your leaders are actually leading you and setting an example. And over Christmas, I had an email from someone within the FAI about something I'd asked them about, and they kind of clarified their holidays, and they said, "Oh, I'll be off after Christmas because we have to take our holidays because we don't get payment in lieu," as a little kind of jesty kind of comment to me. But it was just, I thought it was quite funny to say that to me. But I actually know the pressure that person is under quite a bit, in that particular person's job, and I just don't think the support is there for people. And
I always
it
remember
falls on other key stakeholders in Irish football, like even all the supporters clubs. I think we're doing a great job. We're pushing season tickets, looking after people for tickets, bringing money into the association. You're not respected. You're not appreciated at all. And it's just everything is just a bit of a shit show. And it comes from the leadership. And I think it's very, very sad to see.
I always remember one of my previous jobs, I won't mention where, just in case someone's watching, over here in London. And they had this new manager came in, and he's like, right, we've got a busy period coming up. So no holidays. He cancelled people's leave. He actually cancelled it. I went, right, absolutely nobody's taking any holidays. Everything's cancelled. Sorry, tough. And then he went off for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
During that period. I was like, where's he going?
You set the tone though, don't you, as a leader, I think. And
yeah.
That's it. And I've not been impressed at all with some of our leaders in the FAI.
Really bad. And you know what? Honestly, my heart goes out to those who are doing really good work in the FAI. And I mean that. You're doing really good work. You work for an association who's been battered for generations. We thought we turned a corner. We've gone back in circles again. And there's so much good work being done. And yet again, it gets overlooked, But anyway, honest to God, my heart goes out to those people.
The only good thing for the FAI, though, is that there'll be another story now that will cover that up, that will follow up. Now we'll talk about the manager again. There'll be another leak, and there'll be that, and then we forget about that. We forget about the pathway, forget about this.
Speaking of which, no news on the manager. That's all being gobbled up, really. Apparently, Lee Carsley, he's probably running a mile, or anyone decent is running a mile after that. But absolutely no news on that. Funny enough, actually, we will talk about this on the live show that we're going to do on Monday. So just remember, Monday, 9:30. We want to hear your comments on the PAC. We want to hear your comments on this as well. But Stephen Kenny has broken his silence. It's out in the Independent, Irish Independent. He has Dan McDonnell, exclusive interview with him. Friend of the pod. we always talk about, we always advertise this stuff, actually. But yeah, he has an exclusive interview with Stephen Kenny. Now, if you head over to the Irish Independent, now they have like a couple of little bits and pieces from it. I cannot wait to read that. I'll be reading that tomorrow, but that's in the Irish Independent Saturday. But we want to talk about that on Monday, Martin, don't we? We want to get your comments on it. We're going to be, I think we're going to serialize it a little bit over the couple of all the pages the next couple of days. Get your reaction. You already did that, Martin, didn't you?
I've read a little bit of it, yeah, and I did say that
you got a glowing reaction to it.
Well, my first initial kind of screenshot and posted the kind of cover of the paper that's coming out tomorrow with this exclusive, and yeah, I did post it up and said, I'm looking forward to reading it. Stephen Kenny, decent lad, like gentleman, basically.
His legacy in the next years in Irish football.
Yeah, his legacy will be, will be seen. And then probably scathingly from one of our very good listeners, David McGuinness. Fantastic response. To be very fair, it is. I mean,
oh my God,
my post isn't using the word legacy. I think it kind of is probably a bit of a throwaway comment, to be honest, because I think it's my use of that word was that we will see the results of Kenny. I'm not saying that Kenny was responsible for that, but it is a legacy of his time. And my point, which I will go into on Monday on the show, is, and it may not be that because he brought these players through, but the fact is, he did say he was going to cut. He fast tracked and he capped people, and that is something that he did ultimately, not because he had no choice to do it. He actually just made that decision that he had to fast track players. And maybe they were going to come through the system, but there's the fact of it was there's a number of managers who didn't bring those players through quicker, and we had a whole generation really that missed out of playing earlier for Ireland. I think it'll be an interesting one to have a chat about on Monday.
check out Dave McGuinness's response. That's how he's responded there. No, I'm just telling the viewer. It's on the Lansdowne Roar Facebook page. If you go there now, and you'll see it. My God, that's an article, man. I'm gonna have to read
it's very good.
No, fair play. Yeah,
we've met David. He's a good fan of
he's a good guy.
the show.
We don't always agree on things, but we had a chat at the Ling Brady interview, which is also available on the YouTube channel. And he made some very salient points, and looking there, he's making some more salient points. But we are going to talk about that on Monday on the live show. I can't wait for that. If there's anything like the last one, Martin, where people were just giving out for 2 hours.
I think one thing I would say about this thing that they have kind of slipped into this article that's coming out is, he does talk about, I think Kenny does talk about challenges. I think his wife was kind of seriously injured in a car accident, which I didn't know that. And he does talk about some of those things that have happened in his background, his personal story. His wife was involved in a car accident. So I think one of the things I would say about Stephen Kenny, and hopefully the feedback from this article, whatever it does say, he's going to give his kind of probably come out fighting a little bit of what he believes he's achieved with Ireland, and maybe make the point a bit better than I do, that, about his legacy, I suppose. But, I think for me, he's a decent guy, and I just don't want to see, I never like to see it get personal at the end towards him.
Look, Stephen Kenny, lovely man, decent man. Yeah. Not the way Eamon Duffy would say decent skin, but no, a decent man, a good footballing man, and he's a gentleman as well. And I'm glad I never got personal. And look, it's the guy. It wasn't a gig for him. He did his best. He just wasn't up to it. But we will talk more about that. Moving on, a little bit late, I suppose, in the week to bring this up. It only came out actually when we did the last day to play together, but it's on Damien Duff and his comments, Martin, on Casement Park. The whole thing with the Euros that you're mad about 2028. Duff comments in the Independent, I think, to Dan McDonnell. Yet again, Dan McDonnell, we're advertising stuff. Will somebody tell him? Well, Kate does comments on it. So basically, the Irish government now there's like a Northern Ireland fund. That the Republic is, and look, I'm speaking strict. I'm not getting into the whole 6 counties, and they're not a country, whatever. But so I'm just speaking to you in strict geopolitical terms. But yeah, there's like a Northern Fund from the Republic, and basically they put, I think it's like €1 billion, and it's divided up. And basically 50 million euros is going to the Casement Park project, which have actually begun clearing at the moment, which is great for the GAA. And Casement Park is going to be used as one of the stadiums because it's basically a Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England hosting this Euros in 2028. But the only stadium Northern Ireland can possibly use is Casement Park because Windsor Park is too small. It has to be like 35,000 or 40,000 minimum capacity, and Windsor Park is tiny, and it's in a housing estate in Belfast. So Casement Park, which has been in limbo for years, of course, that's gone up the Unionists. That's gone down there very well, as you can imagine. And they probably will not be happy about that. But if they don't have Casement Park, they don't have a game for the Euros. So Duff comments on the 50 million that the government are giving to that or pledging to that, and he says, "Will Casement Park bring through footballers? Maybe in a roundabout way." Says Duff, "Academies for me is where the future of Irish football is. 50 million. How many games will it host? 4? Great. We'll go to the toilet 4 times. I'd rather it was spent on academies." I just want to say I champion Damien Duff's comments there, and I agree with him. And this is my problem with the Euros, Martin, being held in Ireland. It's a complete papering over the cracks, and by the looks of it, the only association that is going, or the only people who are going to benefit from this, are the GAA, who are going to get a stadium built for them, and in a jurisdiction that the government in the south have absolutely no, or in an area that the government in the south have absolutely no jurisdiction over. Not really, other than give money. And that's my problem. That's why I don't like the Euro. That's why I'm not a fan of the Euros.
No, I get your point. I get Duffer's point as well. I would be a big fan and advocate of putting money into grassroots and academies and things like that, as long as it's going to be spent the right way and putting in facilities for youth. Really.
Now the money, just to reiterate the point, the money it was part of a Northern fund, so if it wasn't putting that, it was going to be putting something else. So, but it just, that's my point. It's like, it's only GAA that are going to benefit from this.
Yeah, and again, that's the larger debate I think that needs to be had, and maybe is something we can discuss a bit if people want to have a chat about it on Monday on the show, because I think we have to kind of embrace. I don't know if this will ever work, but you have to embrace different sports and facilities. Like, you think of hurling pitches and like, they've got to be multi-use sports venues now. And I was just trying to think about that in my head of how that could be implemented. If you just put, say, for example, you just had a new county, right, in Ireland, and you said in the middle of the town, we're going to put in a multi-sports venue, and this is what we're going to play. GAA is a game that they play, hurling, Gaelic football, and then we're going to have soccer. But they're all going to be run independently as their own kind of administration, and who hires it will be equally shared out. But can you imagine when they turn up to kind of that moving goals around? I mean, I have this in my grassroots football club at Enfield Town, and a council facility. You found the people before you've left litter everywhere and wrecked the goals, and you can't use them, and who do you blame? Imagine that. But I'm a big advocate for multi-sports venues, and I think that's something that the FAI, I think, carefully phrased in one of their plans recently, and their new rebranding when they launched the kind of another one of their plans recently, not the pathway, the one that was done before, about the aim of qualifying.
Jesus Christ.
For future tournaments and stuff, and what they want to have all the time. So yeah, I think that's something that, the FAI are kind of playing a political game, embracing this, that, we're up for multi-sports venues, but I can't see how it's ever going to work with the GAA and the power base they have. But I think it's something they need to do, because what's the point of building a new football facility somewhere and then you've got a hurling pitch next to it, and like, it's just absurd waste of money in a sense if it can be dual.
But that's what we go back to. The GAA,
they're all working independently, and they're all funded, and they're all desperate for their slice of the pie of they don't want to give up what they earn and bring in.
And that's the problem, and that's why the FAI seriously need to have their act together. And that's the FAI's fault. That's not the GAA's fault. But I'm not having a go. I know I could see the comments now. Oh, Dave's having a go to GAA. No, I'm not having a go to GAA. Listen, they have to look after their own home. Do you know what I mean? Their own bread and butter. It's just, this is why the FAI have to be pristine, especially what went on 5 years ago and what was going on for the years previous to that. And that's why they keep dropping the ball constantly. Well, that's why we get annoyed, because they keep dropping the ball, the FAI. But yeah, no, it's ideal situation to have a multi-purpose. I mean, that was one of the things that held up the Tallaght Stadium. There was talk they were going to make it a gas stadium. I remember for years it was just the ones you go past the square in the 76. Going back to my whole childhood there, and you just see this one stand for years just there, and he finally got it open, which is, it's a great stadium now for what it is. But yeah, that it's just rows arguments. Like, they can never just sit down and work something out. And that's all sides.
Yeah, because you've got a lot of older people on these. Well, that's probably not very fair, I suppose, at all. But you've just got everyone wanting to kind of look after their passionate sport and what they want to do and what they brought to the community and things like that. So it's probably never going to resolve. But yeah, look, the back to the Case and Park thing. I mean, I do agree. The money, it would be best served that way, but it is what it is. But I mean, I know we differ in our opinions on the Euros, because I just think, I think for a small nation like Ireland, I think we'll get a benefit from it, because it was
6 million, was it? 6 million they're going to get from it.
Well, no, I just think, though, the interest, the future spike of it, I've got, like, kids being able to go again, the youth being able to go to a tournament.
The problem is there's nowhere for them to go, Martin. That's my point. Football does not need an audience in Ireland. It needs a shop floor. It needs a shop front, actually, not a shop floor. It needs a shop front. That's the problem. The League of Ireland, it can get all these great attendances, right? They're getting people in. But if they're going in, I remember going to Dalymount Park, and I'm going to get a WhatsApp message about this. Remember in the away section, I think I was with Pats. They were like my local team. And the away stand was pissing up the back of the Des Kelly stand, I think it was. Or it was the Jody stand. I can't remember. No, the Jody stand is the more modern one. That was the away toilet. It was the back of the wall.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't get all these people in and go, "Oh, what's the fucking point here?" You know, they need to see improvement. You know, that's what killed the FA. That's what killed the League of Ireland in the '60s when the advent of colour television. It's like, why would I go to these dumpy grounds? You know, you can't even get a burger or anything. You couldn't get food in the grounds. I remember reading Who Stole Our Game? Brilliant book, by the way. And yet, but I can sit at home in comfort my own living room and watch Dennis Law, Georgie Best, Roger Hunt, Ian St. John, all these guys. Why am I going to that? So they need to. Anyway.
Yeah, but Euros is a bit bigger. That's all my only point on that. We'll have to have a chat about it another day, but it is just a bit bigger. I think.
No, just your point though about the spike. Yeah, we'll get a spike, but there's nothing for them. That's my point.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll move it on. The girls in Greenwell, White, actually got a fantastic draw in Florence in an international friendly there. A 0-0 draw. Eileen Gleason's, that's her first game, isn't it, since she's been confirmed as manager after the Nations League. Yeah. I mean, Italy, one of the top nations there, did really well.
Yeah, decent performance. I think, tried some different things as well. Sort of caught a bit of a press conference after she went forward at the back at one stage as well.
Yeah.
Like I said the other day as well, Aoife Mannion, I'm a big fan of her, and I think she's going to be a very important player for us. And it was great to see her getting involved today. It's a shame, obviously, Jamie Finn has got an ACL injury. She missed out. Again, this is something that they really need to look at in women's football. And I know they are, but the amount of ACL injuries that women seem to get in football, and obviously better analysts than me have spoken about in the past, but I'm going to look into it a little bit and have a chat with a few people, hopefully on a future episode of the show, because it's something I think it does warrant having a bit of discussion. And but just gutting for her as well, tough on her the World Cup as well, so it was a good opportunity for her to get back in and really kind of
sending her best. Definitely sending her best to Jamie. Also, the under-17s were in action. Got I think it was yesterday, actually. 3-0 win against Israel. We seem to be fighting low with the Israelis at the moment on all different fronts. But the Israelis were kicking off because they felt that the Irish under-17s disrespected the Israeli team. Here we go. Here's a picture here. Because they said they turned their back on the Israeli flag when actually they weren't. They were turning to face the Ireland flag, because Ireland is one of the very few nations that actually turns to the flag. Wherever the flag is in the stadium, they turn to it and they stand for the national anthem. I was in Athens, in the IPOP arena, and the FAI, there was nowhere really for the flag to hang. And what they did was they sent a couple of lads up to the media section to hold the tricolour up so they could turn and face it.
Yeah. I've seen that games as well, and that's the protocol they do. And one journalist made a big thing of this to be political. He's been ripped apart, thankfully, by the Irish Twitterati, if that's the word we can call them. People have corrected him and stuff, but no apology. Even the Israeli, I think, coach came out and said, "Look, no, haven't got a problem with it." The Irish FA and players were very respectful, and they did follow the correct procedure. But this one journo is getting a lot of clickbaiting out of this and doing quite well out of it, I think. So we either go to town and then we rip him apart, or we just let him drift away and into obscurity.
Yeah, basically, they said that that journalist said that they turned it back when the Israeli anthem was playing, but actually the Israeli under-17 head coach Mikhail Ravitz said that Ireland turned to face their flag before the game, adding, "During our anthem they stood, and during their anthem they turned to face their flag, which is on the other side of the field, as happens in every game." Good man. There you go. So utter bollocks from that guy.
The old snitch. Now tagging in UEFA and everyone else as well. The old bollocks.
Yeah, just get a life, you sad
bastard. We'll redact him. That's what we'll do. We're gonna.
We will redact him. We're hold on. There, look. Redacted. Give us 500 million quid, Martin, will you?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. As always, Martin, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much for watching. We are back on Monday, notwithstanding a managerial announcement or some other mad stuff happening over the weekend, but we're back on Monday with a live version of Lads Roar. Not Sunday, Monday at 9:30. Are we going to go 9:30, Martin?
Yeah, we're going 9:30. Yeah.
We'll go 9.
9:30.
9:30. There you go. That told me. I was trying to get half an hour, but whatever. So we will be back Monday
because we could be on till midnight. So
yeah, exactly. So that's why I want to start earlier.
No, we're going
9:30. All right, so we're going to be on till midnight. Well,
just because you might be celebrating still from Liverpool winning the what is it now? The Carabao Cup?
Carabao Cup,
another Carabao Cup win for Kelleher.
Yeah.
We'll have to chat about him. Do you think he should
get a
move on?
Well, Alisson's out for a while, so he might be back in the team. But he'll definitely get his 10.
Just have a prediction day before the show, then right before on Saturday. Do you think Liverpool win the cup?
Yes, but it'll be a tight thing.
They will. They will win it. Yeah.
I think they'll 2-1.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it. I think it'll be a good game. I genuinely am, and I know that Klopp won't make it all about him and be fist pumping everywhere because it's not about him. Do you remember he said that the other day? But then he went around the other day. He went when they beat Luton, and who scored the goal? We must finish the show on this. Who scored the goal for Luton? Come on, Dave. Give the listeners what they want. Who got Luton's goal?
Benny.
Well, yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, and then it just made Liverpool angry, and then
if that doesn't deserve a subscribe, hit that subscribe button. He got the name right.
Head is bloody killing me now after that. Jeez, he put me on the spot. Anyway, we're gonna leave it there. We will be back live 9:30 on Monday to get your reaction to the PAC, your reaction to whatever happens over the weekend, because we don't really know what's gonna go on. As always, as I said at the top of the podcast, if you like what you hear and you love what you see, hit that subscribe button, scan that QR code, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm David Dunn. He's Martin Prendergast, and we are out of here. Good night. God bless.